Born in Uxbridge on the outskirts of London, lived in Malawi before moving to Perth in 1975. In the 80s he joined the franchising sector with the Bedshed Group, opened 7 stores in 5 years, real success story. Established a national franchise consultancy and sales group, Franchising Alliance, developed franchise business systems and strategies for over 40 businesses, so incredible range of experience. These include people like Ultratune, Jim's Mowing and Donut King, so big names. Within 5 years he built 6 franchise groups to over 120 outlets. Brian is approaching from a different angle now. He's got a fabulous business, How to Franchise Simply. He'll be talking about how you take an existing business and franchise it. And you might be here thinking of a franchise, being a franchisee, it's still worth having a listen to this session because you'll learn what it's like from the other side. And so, I think one of our best speakers, one of our most interesting speakers, and a man of incredible experience. So Brian, I'm going to throw it over to you.
So, good morning to you all. Thank you for coming along today. I'd just like to ask a couple of questions first off. Who's actually a business owner? Amongst those of you here. Okay, a few hands up. Another question, if you don't mind me asking. Excuse me, so I'll just get my microphone. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. I want you to tell me, a random question, how many hours a week do you work? About 50. Okay, any other volunteer? Anybody better than 50? Anybody more than 50 hours a week running their business? I usually get a few 60s and 70s and 80s. The truth is that in Australia, according to the Bureau of Statistics, on average, a business owner works 49 hours a week. Probably conservative. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? When you started your business, you had a dream, you had a concept, and it probably involved spending time in the golf course, time with the family, having holidays. When you get into business, that's something you lose very often because you end up working long hours trying to achieve what you wanted to achieve. And you're here because you're perhaps looking at maybe franchising a business, and you walk around the stands and I wonder, you look at these people and say, how have they managed to take this sort of business into a franchise that's Australia-wide? The fact is, it can look quite complicated, be quite daunting, but the fact is that franchising is actually quite simple. Anyone can do it and it works. It's a matter of having the process. And what I'm going to show you fairly quickly now is how you can achieve that by following a system. Essentially, if you're in business and you do want to expand your business, you've got a couple of options. Either you invest capital or you get equity involved, you go out and you grow, or you might look at the other alternative, which is franchising. Now, the thing I love about franchising, and so do the franchisors here, is that when you franchise successfully, you actually get the capital coming in because people actually pay you a franchise fee to become involved in your business system. And therein lies the big point, the big difference. My background is that I've been in franchising, as Tim said, for many years. I was essentially I was involved as a franchisee. I've been a franchise broker for many years and a consultant. I've had something like 25 businesses over my career. And currently, what I do is help people franchise their businesses. I work as a mentor, and I've got what I believe is the world's only do-it-yourself franchise system, where I'm able to take people step by step through a process to really simplify it, keep it comparatively inexpensive. The businesses I've worked with over the years, I'm going back to introducing Jim's Mowing into Western Australia years ago when he first went interstate, people like Eagle Boys Pictures and so on. I've seen them grow over the years by as much as $5 billion in total in their value. It's quite extraordinary, the growth of these small businesses. The truth is, most of them started off as one-man, two-man operations, working very simply with a very simple concept. And what's happened in the meantime is that they've essentially grown that business using a franchise model. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've got a lot of contacts. I get contacted or approached by a lot of journalists, magazines, regularly write, and also currently have a book I'll be offering you shortly, which I've just published. Right. My background in franchising started as a franchisee. I owned 7 outlets in a footprint called Bedshed, rather like Captain Snooze over in Perth. That was in the early 80s. And then I formed a business consultancy, a franchise brokerage consultancy called the Franchise Alliance, with a couple of partners. We actually grew that Australia-wide. In that process, we started 6 of our own franchise groups. So we found areas in the market where we thought there was an opportunity, people looking for businesses of a particular type, and we would source one and we would create one. We did that very successfully. And in doing that, you learn a lot. We're fortunately getting a lot of experience together, a wealth of knowledge and so forth. And that's helped us as we move forward, working with a lot of people in different sorts of businesses. These are some of the companies I worked with. Spent Production Analyst is one of them. It's in 27 countries now. Started off as a concept. I suppose I'm fortunate. Franchising has been really good to me. Allowed me to indulge in my lifestyle, enjoy the family and tinker around with the odd vintage car, which I do enjoy. But I have a weakness for Alfa Romeo, so maybe enough you can kind of do something from the same thing. When I retired a few years ago, which I did, I got a nice house near the beach, lived on the coast of New South Wales. My wife Bruce, she retired as well from her own career, and I founded a charity called Micro Foundation. So these days I'm termed as a social entrepreneur because I help people through a charity to start their own business in Africa. That's something I've got a real passion for, and that's something I'm able to do. One of the reasons I'm here today is because I got very bored very quickly with retirement. Be warned. The goal of retirement sounds wonderful, but it can be very boring once you get there if you're energetic and you're entrepreneurial and you really feel you're creative. So we created a business system, which as I mentioned earlier is one basically where people can do it themselves. So it's documented with a simple process, and I'm going to share with you some of the aspects of how you actually do that. My background was I was born in the Second World War in London. A fairly humble background. My parents were both involved as shop workers, and I didn't have expectations in my area where we live to do anything other than probably follow their footsteps. If I got a job with a tie behind the post office counter, my mum would have been thrilled. But I wanted to break out from that. I actually was a good entrepreneur, and I think I studied subcontracting with a milk delivery guy when I was about 8 years old. I got into retail when I was 13. So I basically sort of broke out of what was the norm in that area where what was expected of us. So if you're in business, it's a bit the same. You know, it's rather like you're imprisoned within that business. You're working all those hours you work a week, and if you add them up, it's probably surprising. If you look at how many dollars an hour you really earn, it can often be a bit of an eye-opener. So, and the biggest thing that stops people growing their businesses, in my belief, is really that they're locked into a self-belief system. It's a mindset issue, having the confidence to step outside of their comfort zone and take a step moving into the growth of their business. Whether that's through expansion in their own right or through franchising, it's something you need to face if you want to realise those ambitions and goals you've harnessed since you first thought about your business idea probably many years ago. I got involved in a lot of various sorts of businesses as well, so we were involved with the America's Cup, Fremantle in 1985, 87, different sort of areas I enjoyed working in. But all part of this process of the different businesses and different franchises allowed us to work the system. I've got a process I recommend that you follow. If you're looking at going to a franchise business, you need to first learn about franchising. There are so many people, unfortunately, that go into franchising fairly unwittingly and not realising there's actually a bit more to it than meets the eye. I mentioned it's not necessarily overly complicated. It's not. But like any business, like your own business, I suspect there are ways you know how to do things. Particular techniques, processes, maybe shortcuts. You might call them tricks of the trade. And if you don't understand the element of those in franchising, you can really catch a cold. It's very expensive trying to sort things out from there. So what I recommend is you do learn about franchising. So coming along to exhibitions like this is a good start. But you need to do a lot more. You need to investigate, talk to people and so on. And then you need to go through a process of actually franchising your business. Don't go out and start selling franchises until you've got everything ready to go. That it means setting up your own business as a franchise or business, so you're ready to handle all sorts of issues and the questions that come along when you get started. Once you have established that franchise, you've got your pilots out there, you're operating with your first franchise, then you're starting to leverage yourself and do what you want to do, which is really grow into the bigger picture. And that's what you see the people here, the large and successful franchise groups, going out there to the world, if you like, and taking the simplest concept they can imagine of their business and replicating it. I might quote a few figures and so forth as far as franchises are concerned. You heard some from the previous speaker. We're all in common there, Patrick and myself. We really will quote numbers that come from the Bureau of Statistics, Griffith University. There are people like PricewaterhouseCoopers, people like Paul Bentley, the International Council. You find they've got brilliant reports they've written, running into many pages about franchising. Have a look at their statistics and get to understand them. At this point, I might say I'm very happy to offer anybody who wants to learn a bit more about their business and suitability for franchising. If they care to, at the end of this presentation, there's a sheet of paper in your brochure there called "Is my business suited for franchising?" You just tick boxes, it's 10 questions, very simple, and if you drop into my stand just behind you, we'll send you through a report. Absolutely free and no commitment whatsoever. So that's something I think will help you get a bit more of an idea about franchising. And to give you an indication, typically if you're in Brisbane, for example, you've got a business in retail, you perhaps got the scope to have maybe 10 businesses in the Brisbane area, something of that sort of nature. Maybe if it could go into more regional centres, maybe it's 20. If you extrapolate that nationally, it would be equivalent to about 120 businesses. So the potential for a lot of retail type businesses and service businesses to reach those numbers is quite realistic. But once you start looking at smaller service businesses, then it extrapolates. You look at people like Jim's Mowing, 1,500, 1,800 lawn mowing franchises in Australia alone. The process I recommend you follow if you're moving into looking at franchising is first you've got to develop the whole concept, get your organisation structure and your marketing sorted out. Then you go to the stage of defining what it is actually you're going to do, looking at budgets, looking at territories. And only then do you start getting to the stage where you define it with your documentation, legal agreements, operation procedures, manuals and so on. And then you reach the deployment stage, which is where you're itching to go, which is when you start recruiting franchisees and you move up to become a leader of people rather than someone running a business. And that's a critical stage you need to appreciate. So when it starts in the first stage, we look at the design concept. I'm just going to touch base on a couple of these items to give you some examples as a bit of an idea of what to anticipate if you are moving into the field of franchising your business. It is important, you have to understand you need to do much more of probably a big picture concept than you possibly have got at the moment. One of the points I use here as a quotation, it's very, very important to make everything you do as simple as possible. Cut down as much as you can. A lot of people have got unnecessarily complicated businesses, roles and tasks and products that aren't very profitable. Cut those down and simplify as much as possible so you've got the scope to replicate the business. You've got the scope of growing far quicker, far bigger if your business is simple, because then you can appeal to more people as prospective franchisees. It makes sense when you think about it. The simpler the process, the more people there are that you can train. So it's something to bear in mind. Really try and keep it very simple indeed. One case study I'll mention to you is a young woman on the Gold Coast. She was made redundant about 7 to 8 years ago. She was a fashion designer. And she went to a French wedding on the Sunshine Coast. It wasn't that well organised, but she said, I can start a business helping people to run weddings. So she started off a business looking after wedding ceremonies, wedding breakfasts, the receptions and so forth. After 12 months, she was told the business was worth $30,000. She was looking to sell it. She was exhausted. She said no, she was really determined. She put a lot of work into it. She wanted a franchise. And what she did, she franchised her business. She could be all about venues, but she learned very quickly that actually was too much for one person to do. So she split the business in two. And lots of people that I speak to and who are here today, your business model is perhaps capable of splitting into two businesses. Which created one that looked after the ceremonies, another franchise group looked after the wedding functions afterwards. What happened to Annette was she sold her whole business last year. She'd taken it to a level of 17 franchises and she created a return of about $700,000 over that 3 years. It's amazing what you can do. She was someone that had no experience in business. The other thing is, you've really got to understand who your customer is. A lot of people in business, they really have clients, they have customers come. It's all a bit of an accident. It sort of happens, they find them, they advertise, whatever it might be. You need to really understand in fine detail who is your customer. And I call that your avatar. Who is the replica? Who is the typical person you're looking for? So you need to understand this very clearly. It requires really, from the point of view of knowing their sort of age group, knowing what's their career background. They live in apartments, they live in houses, they've got children. What are their requirements? What are their passions? How do they communicate? What sort of language do they use? Those sorts of things, all their habits, you need to really understand that, because people from different areas will have very different habits, very different demands, very different service requirements. So you have to appreciate it's not the same people everywhere. You're looking for different profiles in different territories. Very important to understand. I don't know how many of you have perhaps heard of the term emotional response in advertising, but if you look closely at good advertising these days, you look at car advertising, they no longer have an attractive woman sitting on the bonnet, and they're not pushing the fact they've got radial tyres and 7 gears. It's all nice imagery of driving to the beach with the family. It's an emotional response. Your business you've got at the moment is going to be sliced, maybe down the middle, maybe a third of the time. But you're going to take over the administrative and marketing and main roles. The franchisee is going to be doing the consumer side. They're going to be the one who's going to be creating the revenue, doing all the work and so forth. It's important when you look at marketing, you do understand you've got to talk to the consumer. It's called emotional response marketing. You've got to appeal to them in the emotional terms of what they're looking for. One client I worked with just saw a tremendous improvement in their business just from looking at that side of it, their marketing strategy and the organisation charts, was a gentleman called Shannon Daniels from Perth. He had a cleaning business. Not very glamorous, but it's amazing what he achieved in a fairly short period of time. Okay, this is Shannon Daniels. Shannon has a business in Perth called Triumphant Property Services. What he does basically is to provide cleaning and maintenance services for strata units and so on. Would you like to just give us a little bit of your story? I presume it's live.
9 months ago, and commenced some work with Brian in setting up our business as a franchise. Now, when I actually took it on, I pretty much decided that, I don't even know if I want to franchise my business, but I do know I want it to run like clockwork. And so throughout the process, it meant that you're reviewing our systems that we had in place and refining those, and as part of that we actually became accredited to Australian Standard 9001. We're actually able to analyse exactly what the marketplace was doing. And so we determined that we had 56,000 potential clients, of which 2,000 more add to each year. We then discovered that if we only had contact with 20,000 of those clients, and only converted 1% of them and gained 200 clients for our own business, we would turn over $6 million a year. Now that made what we were doing suddenly seem really achievable. And it has ultimately affected our business. In putting together the actual systems for franchise, we actually discovered that just our franchise business in licence fees alone in Perth is worth $1.5 million, should we go down that path. So, in 6 months' time, yes, it has cost us about $20,000 and a lot of work, but we've basically found $1.5 million without selling another product. So it's been great.
Your business is in building a recognisable brand. So this is part of the process of franchising, which your benchmark is how well established a brand is. But that means not just promoting the brand. You're wasting your money if you go out and advertise your brand. Promoting logos and brands and business names is truly just an indulgence, a little bit of an ego trip. You need to make sure you always get a return on investment when you're advertising and promoting your business. To give you an idea of the way that you can grow a business organically, there was a sandwich shop I referred to, and I shan't name it at this point. They opened quite a number of years ago now, put in a certain amount of capital, and only had about 5% of their capital left after 12 months. Very simple concept. So they were faced, the two partners, with a proposition: do we close it down or do we carry on? And they said, well, we think we'll push on and open the second one. Do we close the first one? No, we'll open the second one as well. So they opened 2 stores, trading a little bit better, but they were still left with a situation where it really wasn't as profitable as they thought it should be. So they opened a 3rd store. What happened was suddenly it started working. Coincidentally, they changed the name from Pete's Subs into Subway. They've now got 37,000 stores around the world just serving their roles. And that's what I call the Olympic rings principle. When you start, Have your businesses close to each other so the brand name spreads and permeates through the area. Don't go opening one interstate here and there. This is Fred DeLuca, the founder, one of the founders of Subway. It's important to understand in business, I mentioned avatars, you know, the typical person we're talking about. When you're looking at franchising, you've actually got two businesses. You've got a franchisor business, you've got a franchisee business. They're two different entities. You've got to split your business in two. And how and where you do that is going to depend on what your skills and your strengths are and what your customers are looking for and what your prospective franchisees are capable of. But you're going to talk to your prospective franchisees who are looking for a business investment in a very different language to speaking to your prospective customers or clients. But you're going to use the same core marketing material. There's something very seriously have to understand at the outset. When we talk about franchise outlets, it's very important to get the right people. I mentioned earlier, franchising is not about product or services, it becomes about people. So if you're a carpenter or a retail butcher or whatever you may be, you're going to change from that to being a people person because you're going to manage people. So there's a lot of techniques and skills you need to know. So when you're looking at recruiting people, you need to put another hat and be very, very objective and use tools. Don't use your emotional response to say, this person seems really terrific, I love them, they really want to buy into the business, they've got lots of capital. That doesn't mean necessarily by any stretch of the imagination they're the right people for you. So you need to use some sort of tools. There's a process called a disc profile, which determines aspects of your character. I won't go into detail now, but it's something that's been used for decades very successfully. It's something I suggest you research and probably do it for yourself, because you need to know what are your characteristics, because they will be very important when it comes to understanding the people you want to recruit. One illustration of the way you can use franchising to grow is John O'Brien from Paulworks is a very successful entrepreneur in the franchising field. He started off driving a franchise truck for Cadbury Sweat, delivering crystal soft drinks. These days he's just bought 2 swimming pool businesses in America. He started off in Hornsby in northern New South Wales with 1 warehouse and 3 vans. He changed that model so that the warehouses became retail outlets and each one was responsible for 6 or 7 franchises, to the point he's got 350 vans and about 60 outlets in Australia. So that's the sort of thing you can do with clever leverage, moving yourself up the ladder. He's been extremely successful. When you look at franchising, you've got, as I say, the 2 businesses, the franchisor or the franchisee. You need to do different strategizing, put marketing plans and processes together for both. And you're using the common branding, the green box in the middle, you know, your logos and your essence, your literature, but you need to create that different process for each, whether it's your consumer or your prospective franchisee when you're recruiting. So whoever you work with, however you go about franchising your business, if you do it, I really do recommend you follow this typical process of going through, first develop the concept in detail, look at the background, the marketing, look at the aspects like the organisation structure, what roles people are going to have, describe their tasks, describe who suits them. Then you go on to budgets, you go on looking at territories, areas where you can really unlock enormous value in your business by realising the optimum number of territories you have in your business. Just imagine if you say, I can put 120 territories in Australia, and you find by reworking your figures you can get 130. Another 10 businesses doesn't just mean 10 franchise fees for the initial fees when you sell a franchise, it means the ongoing fees, which means if you're going to sell your business, they're an asset. So they increase quite dramatically the value of what you've got. And then your legals, don't go off and see a lawyer early in the piece. By all means, speak to one, but I wouldn't start your franchise agreement process until you're almost ready to launch. As I mentioned before, the sort of number of groups I've been involved in, seeing their growth over the last 3 decades, is quite important where businesses grow and the scale that they reach. And these sorts of names give you a bit of an indication. They nearly all started off really as a concept in someone's mind. If you want to take your business that's currently successful or a concept you think is going to really work well, and you want to grow it, you want to extrapolate it, replicate it so it becomes a number of businesses through franchising, I suggest you follow this process really, really closely. It has merit, it's been proven. I've just launched a book, I've just written it, since I wrote it a few months ago, but I've just launched it in Melbourne this weekend. If you'd like a free copy, before it goes onto the bookshelves and gimmicks and so on. My stand over just behind you, number C40, we're giving those to you, but just for an application form. So that's a very straightforward book, should I franchise my business? I'm also offering free consultations, so if you read the book and you think you'd like to have a chat to me, get a bit more information, answer some questions, there's no obligation whatsoever. I just suggest you contact me, get online, make a booking, we'll call you if you need our information. Stand C40, as I mentioned, is the one. So if you think you're looking at franchising or growing your business, whatever way, I think you need to research franchising. It's a wonderful method of growing, and it's one that should be very rewarding if it suits you. Having said all that, basically, I wish you all the best with your growth into the franchise field if you move that way, and I'll leave you with a thought that book is available, and if you'd like to have a chat, I'd really love to talk to you. So